In Noblesville, the shadows and the silence were often spoken of in the same breath, both punctuated by the distant rustling of the ancient elm leaves. Asher Reed, a middle-aged detective, found himself in the quiet embrace of this peculiar town. His face was chiseled with resilience, his eyes deep pools of stoic calm with a touch of residual grief that only the survivors of life's worst nightmares understood. Reed had built a fortress of solitude around himself, a construct of silent courage and unwavering optimism that had been his only true companions since the flood. A flood that had washed away the world as he knew it, leaving him as a solitary island in the current of life. It was in this isolation that he found solace, each still moment a confrontation with his past, each quiet heartbeat a testament to his survival. Noblesville's tranquil graveyard was his destination. It was a monument to mortality, hosting a sea of granite tombstones, each standing vigil for those who had left for eternal silence. Lately, though, the silence had been violated, disturbed by an ominous series of grave robberies. To the naked eye, the violation wasn't evident. But his eyes weren't naked. They were clothed in experience, in acute intuition, seeing past the calm facade into the heart of disquiet. He met with the gravekeeper, a gnarled man named Elias, whose weather-beaten face was a parchment of forgotten tales. Their conversation was a dance of hesitation and revelation, the air between them heavy with unsaid words and unexpressed fear. "The stones have been disturbed, Detective," Elias had murmured, his voice a reluctant whisper in the consuming silence of the graveyard. And the silence carries a weight, an unease. It's as if the very air is contaminated with something sinister. Reed nodded, understanding the profound relationship between a graveyard and its keeper, and the ripples that could disturb such an ancient bond. As he walked among the graves, each an island in an ocean of stillness, his mind whispered a promise to the disturbed souls. He would restore their peace and mend the silence that was broken. Night found him at the local tavern, a quaint structure echoing with a silence different from the graveyard, yet strangely familiar. The conversations were hushed, the laughter subdued, as though the town was slowly succumbing to an insidious melancholy. A wistful smile found its way onto his lips as he observed the town's inhabitants. He saw reflections of his past self in them, lost, searching for meaning amidst chaos. The grave robberies, he realized, were not just desecrations of peace, but violations of a collective search for purpose. As he walked back to his temporary home under the faint starlight, he felt an unsettling sensation, as if the town was changing, shifting beneath its own skin. It was an enigma, a woven shadow that blanketed Noblesville, as subtle as a sigh and as profound as the universe itself. And he knew as he closed his eyes that night that he was on the precipice of a descent into this shadow, into a mystery that was far deeper, far darker than he could possibly imagine. The morning dawned over Noblesville like a reluctant ghost, illuminating the sleep-heavy streets with a pallid light that seeped into the crevices of the town, illuminating the hidden, tangled shadows. It was within these shadows that Asher Reed found himself ensnared as he delved deeper into the town's mysteries. The transformation of Noblesville was almost imperceptible, like the slow blooming of a nocturnal flower, revealing its colors only to those who dared to watch through the darkest hours. The townsfolk changed subtly. Laughter, once a resounding echo through the cobblestone streets, now felt hushed, suppressed. Eyes that once gleamed with vibrancy were now veiled with a nebulous curtain of unease. Reed, a seasoned navigator of human emotions, felt these currents of change, their slow but insidious spread into the very soul of Noblesville. One such transformation was in the local baker, a sturdy woman named Hester, known for her easy banter and welcoming warmth. Today, her cheerfulness seemed artificial, a veneer struggling to conceal a raw, burgeoning fear. In a soft, almost trembling voice, she confessed to him, "The town's heartbeat has changed, Detective. It's not the warm, robust rhythm anymore. It's a hushed, eerie whisper now." This echoed his own suspicions. The changes were not individual aberrations, but threads in a chilling tapestry of a town's slow metamorphosis. A more tangible sign came in the form of an ornate talisman he discovered at the scene of the latest grave robbery. The twisted piece of metal, adorned with cosmic sigils, was a tangible manifestation of the hidden shadow that seemed to have its claws dug deep into Noblesville. It suggested a darker undercurrent to the grave robberies, an involvement of practices far removed from the realm of the ordinary. Yet it was the meeting with the town's librarian, a man named Arthur, that confirmed his growing fears. Arthur was a walking repository of Noblesville's history, his mind a labyrinth of tales and anecdotes. His voice, a fragile, shaking whisper, provided the final piece of the puzzle. There's a darkness amongst us, detective, a sort of cult. It has been here for centuries, lurking in the shadows. Now it has awakened. The cult, the thought prickled at the back of his mind, growing like a shadow in the noon sun. The grave robberies, the talisman, the unspoken fear, all seemed to be interconnected, part of an insidious, grand scheme whispered through the ages. As the day melded into the inky darkness of the night, he found himself standing at the edge of understanding. Beneath the placid surface of Noblesville, the shadows deepened, revealing a terrifying reality. He stood at the precipice of this abyss, staring into the churning depths of a cosmic conspiracy that had started to unveil itself. The last vestiges of the day gave way to the night, the flickering lights of the town swallowed by the encroaching darkness. And within that darkness, he realized the woven shadows danced, whispering their cryptic tales, ready to lure him into the unknown. As the gloaming sky embraced Noblesville, Asher Reed felt a profound dislocation from reality, as though he had stepped into the yawning abyss of an eerie dreamscape. With the revelation of the cult, Noblesville had metamorphosed from a tranquil town to a lurking monstrosity under the shroud of the cosmic dark. He found himself drawn to the hallowed ground of the violated graves, his senses attuned to the otherworldly resonance that seemed to emanate from the disturbed earth. The knowledge of the cult brought a new interpretation to the desecrations. They were not mere crimes, but rituals, a celebration of some ancient, unfathomable deity. Guided by whispers and fearful accounts from the townsfolk, he discovered the cryptic meeting place of the cult, a derelict church, its ancient bricks worn thin, like the veil between this world and the one that the cult worshipped. The once sacred sanctuary now bore a chilling atmosphere, its dilapidated walls echoing with a silence that breathed ancient, arcane secrets. Within the church, he found a shrine, a macabre testament to the cult's unearthly devotion. At its center lay a larger version of the talisman he had found earlier, its cosmic sigils shimmering ominously under the weak moonlight streaming through a broken stained glass window. Drawn by an inexplicable compulsion, he touched the talisman. A rush of voices flooded his mind, whispering tales of cosmic entities from abyssal realms, of voids filled with terrifying silhouettes of godlike horrors. The lore of the cult unveiled itself, an epiphany that bore down on him with an unbearable weight. The cosmic horrors the cult worshipped were not mere myths. They were palpable, terrifying realities, their shadows stretching across Noblesville, the entire universe, and even his very existence. The revelations were maddening. Yet in the eye of this storm, his spirit did not waver. His resilience, born out of surviving life's worst catastrophes, became his anchor, grounding him in the face of the inconceivable. Leaving the church behind, he felt the cold tendrils of the night air seep into his very being, carrying whispers of the horrors he had just uncovered. Noblesville, bathed in the spectral glow of the moon, held an ominous tranquility, its once charming visage a haunting mockery under the dominion of the cosmic horrors. Back in his room, he mulled over the day's chilling discoveries, each one a thread in the terrifying tapestry of the town's dark secret. Yet amid the dread, he felt a strange determination solidify within him. He had looked into the void, uncovered the chilling realities hidden beneath Noblesville's facade, and now he held the knowledge, the power to fight. As he fell into a restless sleep, the certainty of a confrontation loomed in the marrow of his bones. He was on a collision course with the forces that had infiltrated Noblesville, and he knew come dawn, he would face the harrowing darkness. A crimson dawn painted the horizon of Noblesville as the fateful day arrived. Asher Reed found himself looking into the morning sun, feeling a strange kinship with the celestial body. It too was a lone beacon against the encroaching darkness, just as he was about to become. That day, he carried a burden heavier than any he had ever borne, a mission to confront the ancient, unearthly menace that had ensnared Noblesville in its shadowy tendrils. Walking towards the derelict church, he felt a queer mix of dread and purpose. His heartbeat was a drum, marching him towards the face of unthinkable terrors, each pulsation a reminder of his resolve. The encounter with the cult leaders was as surreal as the entities they worshipped. They were men and women from the town, individuals he had spoken to, shared smiles with. But now, under the influence of the dark cult, their eyes shone with an eerie luminescence, their voices resonating with the hollow echoes of the cosmic void. Through tense exchanges, he attempted to cut the strings of the puppeteers. He challenged their beliefs, their blind worship of cosmic horrors they barely understood. He spoke of freedom, of shaking off the shadows that had choked the life out of Noblesville. His words were met with icy denial, his pleas ricocheting off the stone walls of the church. The confrontation escalated to a fever pitch, the air in the ancient church crackling with tangible tension. In the ensuing chaos, he managed to sabotage the talisman, disrupting the ethereal link between the cult and the cosmic horrors. With the void's hold over them shattered, the cultists reeled, confusion marring their faces. Seizing the opportunity, he escaped the church, leaving behind the disoriented cult members, their disillusionment echoing in the hallowed structure. The town of Noblesville, released from the otherworldly influence, stirred back to life. The cheerfulness slowly returned, but it was a cautious cheer, one that carried the memory of the shadows it had been trapped under. Though physically free, he bore the indelible scars of his encounter. The knowledge of the cosmic horrors was a constant companion, a hum in the back of his mind. He had stared into the abyss, and the abyss had stared back. His consciousness had escaped, but it carried with it a haunting echo from the void. The sun dipped below the horizon, pulling a curtain over the eventful day. As night blanketed Noblesville, he found himself under the vast, indifferent cosmic canvas, its twinkling stars a reminder of the terrifying entities lurking in the farthest corners of the universe. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed our content, show your support with a like and subscribe, and stay notified by hitting the bell icon. Expect more cosmic horror from Eldritch Tales Factory, and feel free to explore our other stories. See you in the next video.